What's going on, crew? Greg here. In this video, I'm going to share 2 overlooked ways to grow your agency, be a little bit more scalable that worked for us inside of our agency. So the first one is to go down market. Now, the question I want to pose to you when it comes to going down market is how can you deliver a similar or identical outcome as your premium service, your current kind of core capability, but at a lower price for those that can't necessarily afford you. So in my agency, we were building webinar funnels specifically for some of the big name course creators that were out there. And we charged anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 for this implementation package. We'd come in, we'd have our kickoff call. And once we had all the assets dialed in, we would actually turn around the entire implementation within 7 business days. We obviously had a lot of really good fit prospects that were kind of big names in the course creator space, authors, speakers, coaches, etc. But we also had a lot of people that didn't really meet the criteria of being able to afford the 15 to 25K. After we had standardized our process of building out these webinar funnels, we saw what the 80-20 was. We saw what the email campaigns need to look like before the webinar to get people to show up and the follow-up to get people to buy. And what we did was we actually standardized it even more. That would be a suitable entry point for people that were less qualified than the people that we originally had. So people that couldn't necessarily afford 15 to 25K, but they could afford 7,500 to maybe 10K. And we slimmed down exactly what was included and our process to deliver it. Now, we really only were able to do this once we had delivered our core capability dozens upon dozens upon dozens of times. So we had a lot of reps. We saw what worked. We knew what someone at that level would actually need, and they didn't need some of the fancy stuff that we were doing for these higher level people that had a little bit larger of a business. So this new market that we came down to, we had a more affordable price, but it also brought us into the world of people that weren't necessarily at the same scale as our flagship offer, our flagship service. And so this led to a lot of new clients that came in the door. And it was really a win-win. We were able to serve a new clientele that opened up the amount of people we could actually serve, but it also took us way less effort and way less people to actually deliver on the result because we were able to slim it down and standardize it. So what did that fundamentally do for us? It kind of added a whole new revenue stream, repurposing and reimagining how we currently did the work that we had been doing for a while. So we had our top tier clients doing 15 to 25K, so average of 20K. And then we had a whole nother level of provider that we were able to help that was paying us anywhere from 7,500 to 10K. Now, 2 things here that I want to call out. In the beginning stages, we did say no to these people. And that was really important when we were getting traction. We didn't get bogged down with trying to be everything to everybody. We had plenty of interest from this audience, the people that maybe weren't already doing $1 million a year in revenue or even maybe $500,000, but they needed an evergreen webinar funnel or even a live webinar funnel. So we waited until we had enough experience and dialed in our own process that allowed us to be confident in moving down market. I see a lot of people do this way too soon. They just want to serve that client that maybe can't afford them. And so they basically sell the exact same service that they normally would charge for 20K for, and they do it just for half the price because that's what the person's budget was. And I actually don't recommend that. The slimming down, the standardization, the client who is down market likely doesn't need all of the bells and whistles and customizations that you're probably currently doing for your top tier clients. And that was very true for us. And we see that to be true for a lot of our clients. So once we had done, again, probably 50 different clients, we were able to start seeing what a slimmed down version could look like for someone that was a few steps behind the current avatar. Now, one other area that was really interesting is because we had built these things so many times, we had a lot of SOPs and we had a lot of templates that were pre-built, meaning that the actual fulfillment on our side was about 75 to 80% complete before we ever even accepted the client, which made our fulfillment process even faster. So you likely have the ability to, as you go downstream, also deliver it in a way more leveraged way because you're going to be utilizing hopefully preloaded assets that you've already created that have worked for your main clients down to this lower market. In some cases, this is a great opportunity to add on a done with you version, meaning, hey, we're going to import these campaigns into your active campaign app, and then we're going to guide you through customizing the emails and getting it to be complete and functional, and we'll do quality control and all of that. So this was also the one step that positioned us to now add had a done with you delivery model for the same exact outcome that we were doing for 25K, but for a much lower price point, opening the market while also still maintaining really, really healthy profit margins. So going down market by standardizing your core service into something that will be more approachable for the, one or two layers down from the current level of client you serve now is a really great way to start expanding the amount of leads you can take on, the amount of clients that you can serve. Again, only after you've done enough reps where you're really confident that you can still do it profitably and you're not going to just give them the 20K deal for 5K just because that's their budget. Now, the second way is to actually narrow your market. Be more specific with who you serve. I know a lot of agencies and service providers that are very hesitant to narrow their focus. But for us, we were in this situation where the more and more we got narrow, the easier our clients were able to refer us. And if you've read Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers, and you hear about their avatar for Gym Launch, it was really specific. I have to go back and reference the book, but it was something very similar to the owner-operator gym that had at least one facility with at least one employee that had at least 50 paying members that was wanting to sell weight loss, meaning that if they didn't want to sell weight loss, they were a questionable fit. Now, I would challenge you to think about your ideal fit right now. You probably aren't that specific. And in our agency, when we were building webinar funnels and things like that, we weren't either. One thing that we noticed was the clients that turned into the difficult clients, the ones that were always demanding things that sort of started to treat us like employees, they were the ones where we were dealing directly with the owner and didn't have any sort of help in-house, specifically around marketing, specifically around the person that would know how to generate a report inside of ActiveCampaign or Keep. So as we started realizing this, our qualifying criteria became, hey, you need to have at least a virtual assistant that knows their way around this tool so that they can pull reports and schedule emails thereafter, because we were getting pulled into this, which was kind of our version of scope creep, where they were paying us top dollar for really low level tasks that they shouldn't have been paying us for. And it bogged our operations down. It ate into our bandwidth, preventing us from serving more clients at a higher level. So once we said, hey, oh, you don't have this person, well, you can either go hire them and then we can get started, or we can point you to somebody else that maybe is going to work with you a little bit better. But we've done this enough times that we feel in our heart of hearts that you need to have this person, both for our success and your success, especially if you want to hit the deadlines that you have. And we became really adamant about it because we saw how our most successful clients always had someone in-house helping them. And the ones that didn't get the result or complained and became difficult, projects ran too long, eating into our margins, always were the situation where we were dealing just with the owner. That became our qualifying criteria. So now we went from course creators using Keep to course creators using Keep that want either a live or evergreen webinar funnel that have at least one person that can do the administrative side of Keep. And that unlocked our growth. Like, it was so easy to know who to say no to and who to say yes to and who to pass on. So many of you might be in a stage where you haven't gone through the reps yet to figure this out. And guess what? The only real way to figure this out is to have messed it up and to realize by doing it. But if you always allow that to continue that way, once you realize that that's the problem, you have to do something about it. And for many of you, it's really just narrowing down and being more specific as to who you serve. It reminds me of one of our clients, Eileen. She was a fractional CMO, and she found a very similar trend. The clients that she worked with, the CEOs that hired her, that were expecting her to be the marketing admin or the marketing assistant, never got the results because she was a fractional CMO. She was providing strategic guidance. She wasn't providing hands to keyboard work. Whereas the CEOs that hired her that had at least one marketing person on their team to do the actual execution thrived. So what does that look like for you? Are you just not being specific enough? Maybe you haven't noticed the trends yet, and maybe this video will help you realize that there are specific nuance to what makes a client a good fit versus a bad fit, and also now who you should say no to. And reminder, knowing who to say no to is arguably more important than knowing who to say yes to, because most service providers, and after working with 600 of them, the biggest obstacle is just you're trying to serve too many different types of people, and it creates so much operational drag that you can never get out of fulfillment. You can never get clients consistently coming to you because every client looks different. And so if we, one, narrow down our market and be more specific with the audience, we will then, two, be able to get clear on who we market to. Our clients will be clear on that. They know how to refer us, and we'll actually create this nice flywheel of opportunity growth. So to recap, first way that's overlooked to grow is to go down market by standardizing your deliverables for someone that is at the next level down, or the next stage, the earlier stage than the current client you serve. So if you serve $1 million plus businesses on a specific outcome, what might the slim down standardized version of that be, the foundational elements of that be for someone who's maybe at $500,000? And do you have the assets and resources to go serve that person with a high level of efficiency? A big piece of this is having clear boundaries and expectations, but that goes for any service. And then the second one is to be more narrow on who you serve, be specific with the nuance of the characteristics and the traits and the type of avatar, the ideal client profile that you're going to serve. Do they need someone on the marketing team? Do they need to have a certain tool? Do they need to have a certain team size? What are those interesting and very important traits for your ideal client that really weaponize them to get the result from the work that they do with you? And lastly, as you make both of these decisions, as you move down this path of going down market and narrowing your ideal client profile, it's going to make marketing and sales 100% simpler, again, mainly because you now know who to say no to and who to say yes to. Now, if you want to be more scalable, more leveraged inside of your delivery, and you want a step-by-step process for how to do so, I put together a video right here for you that's going to take you down the 9 steps that most of our clients need to move through in order to unlock this new revenue stream that we talked about by going down market. See you over there.